Dirt Trax TV is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, follow your path. Yamaha's proven off-road side-by-sides and ATVs, realize your adventure. Team MSC, when you just gotta have the best. Honda Power Sports, power your dreams, whatever the terrain.
I'm not going to try and sugarcoat this. It has been a minute since Honda has done anything truly new with their Pioneer 1000 5-seater. I'm certainly not saying it's not a good side-by-side, it definitely is, but it's been pretty similar year after year without many big updates at all. Its convertible rear seats that still manage to maintain the cargo box's dumping feature when the seats are folded down is an exciting feature all on its own. But we have been waiting for Honda to do something new with the Pioneer 1005, and in 2025, they have. The unit we have here is the Pioneer 1005 Trail Special Edition. It's the top spec model in the Pioneer lineup, and it has some new features and technology that really set it apart from not only the rest of the Pioneer 5 models, but from the competition as well. Let's start by taking a look at some of the upgrades that are pretty traditional for a top-of-the-line model, and then we'll take a look at some of the stuff that really is new. The Special Edition gets 14-inch machined aluminum wheels, a 4,500-pound Warn VRX45 winch, a roof, fold-down windshield, an accessory switch panel, and an SSV Works Bluetooth stereo with 4 speakers and a 500-watt subwoofer, and that's just the big stuff. Clearly, Honda was not messing around when they decided to release a Special Edition model. But wait, there's more. The SC also gets a full set of Fox QS3 piggyback 3-position shocks, which are super premium upgrade over the steel body gas charge units found on the other two models. With 10.5 inches of front and 10 inches of rear travel, the Pioneer has suspension specifications deserving of a quality adjustable shock, and now it has them. With the QS3s, we finally get to experience just how good the Pioneer 5 suspension really is, and I'm pleased to say it's really good. Set to full soft, the ride is plush and smooth. I'd leave them set here if it were just me and a passenger. Bumping them up to the second and third settings would be reserved only for times when you're carrying extra weight, be it passengers or a loaded cargo bed. So a big thumbs up for QS3s. Now let's talk about some of the new technology Honda has included on the 2025 Pioneer 1005 Trail Special Edition that no other sport utility side-by-side in the industry has. I'm talking about i4-wheel drive, hill start assist, and electronic brake force distribution. These are all automotive-style systems that utilize electronically controlled brake actuation. The Pioneer 5 SE's 4x4 system has 3 settings: Turf, which is 2-wheel drive with an unlocked rear diff, 2-wheel drive with a locked diff, and i4-wheel drive, which is essentially a front-end traction control system that electronically monitors front differential slip and automatically applies the brakes to whatever front wheel isn't getting traction, so the wheel that is gets more power. Other manufacturers utilize auto-locking front differentials to accomplish this, but Honda is using the brake. Now let's talk about the next piece of cool technology, hill start assist. My truck has this and it's pretty handy. Everyone knows that when you apply the brakes to keep a vehicle stopped on a hill, it will inevitably roll backward a bit as you release the brakes and apply the throttle. This can result in a loss of traction or, in extreme circumstances, the front end of the vehicle getting unnervingly light. Hill Start Assist simply keeps the brakes applied for you as you move your foot from the brake pedal to the gas pedal, which keeps the vehicle from rolling backwards. It's simple, but it's actually pretty helpful. Finally, we have the electronic brake force distribution system, which distributes greater braking force to the wheels that are getting the most traction. For example, when you apply the brakes hard at higher speeds, the weight of the vehicle transfers mostly to the front tires. In this case, the system would distribute greater braking force to the front wheels because they are getting more traction than the rear. The same situation would occur when you apply the brakes hauling a heavy load. This is yet another system that also makes the Pioneer 1000 SE safer and more capable, which are two things you can never really have enough of. Let's not forget all its other great features, such as power steering, dual clutch transmission with paddle shifters, multiple shift modes, and of course its durable 999cc twin-cylinder engine. I think the important takeaway for today is that with this unit, Honda has built the very best Pioneer 5-seat model ever. The Trail SE carries over all of the things we've always liked about Honda's 5-seat Pioneer lineup, but adds a long list of features and technology that make it safer, more capable, and more comfortable. It's a side-by-side that simply can't be overlooked, and one that's pushing the boundaries of side-by-side technology in the sport utility class.
This portion of Dirt Trax TV has been brought to you by MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap.
It always makes me happy to see manufacturers paying attention to the ATV side of the off-road industry. Last season, I evaluated the remodeled Kawasaki Brute Force 750, and now I've had the opportunity to evaluate a new model in Kawai's lineup, this 2025 Brute Force 450. Full disclosure, like the Brute Force 300, this is a rebranded model. Now, before you go getting all freaked out, know that Kawasaki's had significant input into the development of this ATV. And remember, this is a common practice in the off-road industry. It helps manufacturers diversify their off-road lineup without the ginormous cost associated with production and development. Warranty, distribution, and final assembly are managed by Kawasaki, which means, should you need it, parts and service can be managed through your Kawi dealer to get you back on the trail with limited downtime. Think about it like this: a manufacturer can increase its offerings and pass that savings on to its consumers, which is how you can get a 450 class ATV for less than $9,000 Canadian. Let's take a look at the features this model offers, and more importantly, how it performs. First off, although only slightly smaller in stature, this machine looks every bit like its bigger brother. With its angular plastics in this gorgeous gray-blue color, mean-looking LED headlights, and a handlebar-mounted LED light pod, from a distance, you'd swear this was a Brute Force 750. Putting power to the ground is a stout little 443cc fuel-injected single-cylinder engine mated to a CVT. Now, it may not produce arm-stretching acceleration, however, power delivery is smooth and linear and more than enough for chores. Plus, when the work is done, there's plenty of jam left in the jar for a good rip on the trails. Painted steel racks with a 75-pound capacity up front and 150 out back offer enough convenience to tackle light duties around the property, and at the end of the day, you can load it up with a cooler or fishing gear for a day out in the bush. And a 2-inch hitch receiver with a 1,050-pound towing capacity gives you solid hauling ability for a small trailer or implement, adding to this ATV's workhorse appeal. The Brute Force 450 comes with 24-inch Maxxis tires wrapped around basic 12-inch Steelies, which I actually don't mind. Quite honestly, I'm more concerned about tire performance than I am about having flashy wheels. And if I was going to upgrade the rubber, I'd probably keep these anyways and not worry about banging them up. Soaking up the terrain, the 450 Brute Force features dual A-arm front suspension offering 7.6 inches of travel and double wishbone rear suspension offering 7.9 inches of travel. Basic coilover shocks with snail cam adjusters offer competitive plushness and preload adjustability. Now, despite its smaller footprint, riding ergos feel natural, and I don't feel like a grizzly bear riding a tricycle, if you get my meaning. The seat is comfortable and supportive, the handlebar height is right, and there's plenty of space in the footwells. Plus, there's a cup holder here for your iced latte and under-seat storage that, although not abundant or water-sealed, provides enough space for your wallet, spare gloves, or whatever. Pro tip, never a bad idea to keep a few resealable baggies on hand for this stuff anyways. This smallish digital display behind the pod light isn't the gorgeous TFT offered on the 750 LE, but it is functional and easy to read and offers the essential data you'd expect from a value line ATV. Dual brake levers and a foot pedal operate single piston caliper hydraulic disc brakes on both front wheels and one single piston caliper hydraulic disc brake mounted on the left rear wheel. This simplified rear brake setup likely helps keep costs down, and while braking power isn't as urgent as dual rear discs, or perhaps as durable as a sealed wet brake, it's still effective for a machine this size and its intended use. The 450 is also equipped with engine braking, which works well for descending steep slopes, and the parking brake, engaging the rear brake, is operated on the left handlebar cluster with this lever. On the right side is an easy-to-operate switch that allows you to toggle between two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, and diff lock. Engagement is smooth and provides ample traction in a variety of changing conditions. Although EPS would be a bonus on this ATV, the little brute handles surprisingly well in two-wheel drive in spite of its absence. Of course, as four-wheel drive and diff lock are engaged, steering does become a little heavier, requiring a bit more rider input, which is most notable when navigating at slower speeds and in tighter, more technical terrain. And since this ATV lacks sway bars up front and out back, there's a little more body roll than I'd prefer during aggressive cornering. That said, under regular trail riding conditions, this ATV remains surprisingly planted. And with a bit of body English and throttle finesse, we feel like a confident rider could easily adapt his riding style to maintain predictable handling. All in all, the 2025 Kawasaki Brute Force 450 is a smart, budget-conscious option for riders looking for a capable mid-sized ATV delivering smooth power, solid utility features, and Kawasaki's reliable dealer network. The Brute Force 450 finds a balance between function, fun, and affordability, and is a solid reminder that sometimes less is more, especially when what you really need is a dependable ATV that can get the job done.
This portion of Dirt Tracks TV has been brought to you by Suzuki. It's not a quad unless it's a King Quad.
You might think that after testing way more than my fair share of Yamaha RMAX models over the years, that I'd be getting bored of it by now. But there's just something about the RMAX that keeps me interested every time I get in one. It's a mix of tangible things I can identify and intangible things I can't. The end result, though, is that I'm always excited to get my hands on a new one to put it through its paces. And for 2025, there's a bunch of new RMAX things to talk about. Obviously, the long wheelbase 4-seater is the biggest one. But for those of us who reside in Canada, the other bit of exciting news is that we finally get the AdventurePro factory equipped in the SE and LE models. Yamaha was resistant to include the AdventurePro in Canada for a number of reasons, mostly related to map databases. However, since day one, we've been arguing that the AdventurePro offers a long list of other features that Canadians desperately want, and finally, we're getting them. The RMAX you see here is the SE model, which sits second from the top of the RMAX 2-seater lineup. It comes standard with features like a sport roof, 30-inch Maxxis Carnivore tires on 14-inch true beadlock wheels, Fox QS3 3-position piggyback shocks, an HD front bumper with a 4,500-pound warm winch, and, in Canada, for 2025, the AdventurePro system with included audio. The SE model also gets Yamaha's excellent D-mode selector dial that offers 3 different throttle profiles and 3-mode power steering with a dash-mounted selector switch. Now, one of the more impressive aspects of the RMAX is its suspension. I mentioned that it comes with a Dirt Trax favorite Fox QS3 piggyback shocks, which is fantastic. But those shocks are bolted to arched arms front and rear that provide 14.2 inches of travel up front and a staggering 16.9 inches of travel out back, which is best in class and not by a little bit. I found that ride quality was excellent on both large and small bumps when the QS3s were set to full soft. The medium and high compression settings provided a very stiff ride though. The RMAX is a true sport utility side-by-side in that while it does have over 14 inches of suspension travel, it also has a dumping cargo bed with a 600-pound capacity. And it can tow up to 2,000 pounds from its 2-inch hitch receiver. The seating position is slightly more upright versus a pure sport side-by-side, but is still very comfortable for sport riding. The half doors open wide, which make getting in and getting out easy when you're working around the yard. On top of all that, the RMAX also gets a 4-position shiftable 4x4 system that includes 2-wheel drive with an unlocked rear diff, 2-wheel drive with a locked diff, 4x4 with an unlocked front diff, and 4x4 with the front diff locked. Now, I love the ability to fully lock the front diff whenever I want, but having turf mode means that working on sensitive surfaces will never be a problem. At 100 horsepower, the 999cc dual overhead cam parallel twin found in the RMAX feels good. Bottom end is strong. The 3D modes are very distinct from each other as well. Crawl is super mellow with a very soft power curve. Trail mode is where you'll likely spend most of your time. It offers good punch down low, but is still smooth enough to be controllable on the trail. Sport mode is a little aggressive for my liking. It's designed to hit hard down low and ramp up the throttle extremely fast. I find it jerky and difficult to use smoothly on the trail. Regardless of the mode you choose, you can take comfort knowing that power is being transferred to the wheels through Yamaha's legendary Ultramatic CVT, which uses a centrifugal wet clutch for engagement so it can keep constant tension on the belt at all times. This reduces the chances of slip-induced belt damage when the engine is under load in challenging terrain. Now let's look at the big news, for Canadians at least, for 2025. The AdventurePro currently doesn't include map databases of Canadian ATV trails, but you can track your ride on the map. But there's also a whole bunch of other things it does that I think are equally as valuable. It of course does the standard things like controlling the stereo and offering notifications from your phone via Bluetooth, but it also offers additional engine information, displays all your drivetrain and D-mode settings, engine and vehicle diagnostics, pin-lockable geofencing, and of course, it displays the accessory backup camera if it's installed. Like all in-dash displays, it really isn't necessary, but the information it provides is super nice to have, and on a much more superficial level, it just looks great in the dash. In my opinion, the SE, like we have here, is the best value among all 4 of Yamaha's RMAX models. It has features that offer tangible benefits, like beadlock wheels, a winch, and the AdventurePro system, without any of the expensive extras that you don't actually need. So if you're looking for a side-by-side that truly can work as hard as it can play, and vice versa, you simply have to check out Yamaha's 2025 2-seat Wolverine RMAX SE.
Dirt Tracks TV has been sponsored by Yamaha, revs your heart. Honda, life is better on a Honda. ITP, innovation, traction, performance. Fast HD, roam fearlessly. Kawasaki, let the good times roll.
A few episodes ago, I tested Can-Am's Defender HD7 EPS, which I think is one of the best values in the full-size 700 class sport utility category. It has everything you could possibly need without a lot of extras. Today, we're going to look at the exact opposite of the HD7 DPS. We're going to look at a side-by-side that definitely has everything you'll need, no matter what you plan to do, but also has a long list of things you want to make riding more comfortable. The Defender Max Limited is Can-Am's second from top-of-the-line 6-seat sport utility side-by-side, second only to the Lone Star Edition. The whole focus of the Max Limited is to make using your side-by-side more comfortable no matter what the conditions are. Of course, being comfortable is nice, but when you really think about it, being comfortable oftentimes also makes you more productive. For example, the Max Limited comes with Can-Am's fully sealed cab and their automatic HVAC system, which means if you're using your Defender in places that are extremely hot or extremely cold, you can keep yourself at the perfect temperature, which helps keep your energy up and excess fatigue down. When it's time to talk about how capable this Max Limited is, you need to understand that it only comes with Can-Am's HD10 power plant. This 82 horsepower, 976cc Rotax engine has incredible bottom end torque that will make any job seem effortless. It also has multiple ITC drive modes, which are Eco Off, and Work to help tailor the power output to the current riding condition. Now I get Eco and I get Work mode, but what is Eco Off? I mean, obviously it's like standard, or maybe some people would call it sport mode, but Eco Off is just weird. Selectable 4x4 with turf mode is standard on all Defender models, and dynamic power steering is obviously standard on the Limited. Arched A-arms up front and arched TTA arms out back offer 12 inches of travel on both ends, and 30-inch XPS track force tires wrapped around 14-inch aluminum wheels provide excellent traction in any condition I've tested them in. The 2,500-pound towing and 1,000-pound cargo box capacities are pretty standard for this class. What's not standard is the 65-inch width, which makes for a very planted and stable feeling side-by-side. The cab itself is incredibly nicely finished. It fits tight and it looks clean inside and out. The doors are sturdy, latch up tight, don't rattle, and the door handles themselves are some of the best in the business. The glass front windshield tips out in 3 positions and features a wiper with sprayer, and the front door windows are powered. The rears are manual. Anyone who watches Dirt Tracks knows that once in a while I like to make some pretty bold statements, so here's mine for today. I think the Defender Max Limited is one of, if not the toughest looking side-by-sides this industry has ever seen. And some of that is due to the fact that the windows in the sides and back come tinted from the factory. Can-Am is the only one doing this, and it's absolutely awesome. It not only looks amazing, especially when combined with the flat earth color scheme and XT front bumper, but it also helps keep the occupants cooler when the sun's out. When it comes to comfort inside the cab, the driver's seat is adjustable, as is the steering column, and these heavily bolstered seats feel amazing. There are flip-down center consoles on both rows of seats for when the center seat is not needed, and all the seats other than the driver's flip up for more cargo room inside the cab. Under the front passenger seat, you'll find a removable storage bin, and Can-Am's dash-mounted removable cargo box is standard. Honestly, it kind of feels silly to talk about this Defender's utility capabilities. Simply put, if there's a job you need done, this thing can do it. The dumping cargo bed with numerous link attachment and tie-down points makes it extremely versatile. The 4,500-pound winch is a great problem solver, and the 2-inch hitch receiver means you can tow anything within its weight limits. One thing that always surprises me about Can-Am Defenders, especially models like this Max Limited, is just how much fun they actually are when you take them out to ride recreationally. It's fast, it handles great, has excellent suspension, and is comfortable for all the occupants. Even if you don't have a ton of work to do with the side-by-side, the Defender Max Limited is still a great option if you're just a trail rider looking for ultimate comfort. $33,600 US, no one is trying to claim that the Defender Max Limited is cheap. But when you consider what you're getting with this side-by-side and just how capable it is both on the job and on the trail, I think it represents an excellent value. If ultimate comfort, capability, and versatility is what you're looking for, and you really don't mind some big horsepower and ultra-tough looks, the Defender Max Limited has you covered.
Make sure to subscribe and comment below for real interaction with the Dirt Trax crew.